For some reason, people are ashamed to admit this, but everyone starts working out because they want to look good with their clothes on.
Yeah.
No one wants to admit it. It's true for everyone. It's true for me. I'm sure it was true for you.
Of course. Half the guys out there are like, I want to work out because I just broke up with my girlfriend.
Regardless of what your reason is, man, even if you're doing it to mask some sort of insecurity, it's part of the journey. Start exercising to mask the insecurity, then you realize, okay, this isn't really fixing my insecurity. But you still get a whole bunch of other benefits that you realize, oh wow, I actually kind of like exercising. Even though it's not fixing this part of my life, it's doing me good in these other areas of my life. So that's why my top priority, I guess, as a trainer is to just get people started on something.
Alright, so you guys already know from the title, it's Syakir is a personal trainer. He's my cousin, and I want to thank him for coming on today because on this podcast we've already talked a lot about exercise, working out, and how important it is, especially like not only does it help our like physical body, your health, but it helps a lot with your mental health. And let's start first with why do you get into personal training and how do you get into it? Yeah.
Personal training or working out? Where do you want to start?
Let's go with personal training first because
Okay.
I think a lot of people like want to start working out, but the fact that you went further to like want to help people to work out, I think that's more interesting. Yeah.
So I realized, I think during my poly years, so when I was like 17 to 19, so I joined SP's strongman club, like Singapore Poly Strongman Club. Yeah.
Okay.
So like tire flips, all these big, muscly powerlifting guys. So I joined that because I started working out on my own, like either at home or in my condo gym, like 2 years before that. So it's something that I enjoyed. Like I really enjoyed the process of working out by then, but I didn't really have any friends who did it, and I didn't have the confidence to go to gyms on my own yet. So I joined that CCA, made a whole bunch of friends, and in that whole process, I realized that, like going to year 2, year 3, then as it would, like you pass your experience on to your juniors and stuff, I realized that I really love teaching. I really love teaching, and by that point, working out already had a clear, huge positive like net impact on my life, physically, mentally, everything, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. So yeah, eventually, but I wasn't studying anything related to that, but it was always at the back of my head, like, man, I love doing this. Like I love working out, and I also love teaching people. Like why not just try and put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, I mean, of course, it was a long process from then until when I actually started getting into personal training. But that's when it started. And I had, of course, my 2 years in NS to kind of really solidify how I was going to go about doing it. Yeah.
I totally forgot about you going to, what do you call it again?
Abu Dhabi, is it?
No, the CCA.
Oh,
Strongman. Yeah, Strongman. Yeah, it was in Singapore Polytechnic where like, you flip the big tire thing that like we see a lot in videos where like Dwayne Johnson does that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of guys usually after national service like they end up exercising, including myself, because you have nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Then how did you like get into you knew you started to like know that you want to teach people, but like how do you actually like get your whole thing running? Because I follow your Instagram, like you also help people and you make your own videos to like share people what to do, all these kind of things. Like how did that like begin to roll for you?
I think I'm trying to think back to when I really started trying to make content. I guess it was during NS, because I think by then that's when I kind of felt like I had a pretty decent foundation of my knowledge of like working out, and I started running and stuff, and I was doing a lot of my own kind of research, if you will. So like another reason I got into personal training is that I realized I was interested in the whys. Like, okay, why do we train in this way?
Yeah.
Why is this good technique? Why is this poor technique? It's something that I realized not a lot of my other friends who were in the CCA had. So I realized, okay, maybe I can take advantage of this in some way, And that continued on in NS whenever I had free time. I was diving into a lot of stuff, experimenting with my own training because we didn't have access to a gym as much in NS. So as naturally you start to gravitate towards what you can do, like running, calisthenics and stuff. Yeah. So then I guess as a byproduct of having more free time as well, then I started to try and make out some content. Started out very simple, just recording my workouts and posting them.
Yeah.
Right. And then I really don't remember exactly when I started to make more educational content. But yeah, I started out just kind of logging my workouts. Then when it became a little bit more sophisticated, like making thumbnails, cover pages for the posts and such. And then I guess somewhere along the lines, I got inspired to do more text carousel type posts where I like share some of the more verbal experience that I can't really share from just working out videos, you know. Yeah, stuff like whether it's tutorial stuff or like some perspectives about exercise and such. So yeah, that's when it really all started, I guess. I made content fairly regularly in NS before I started personal training. So that would have been about a year and a half before I got into personal training.
Yeah, oh, that's been a while, because I remember like, I don't know, I guess when you look at people do something, sometimes it feels like, I just remember you being a trainer, that's it. But like you really took like quite a while from like the content creation, because all I remember was like one day, I think I was already busy doing my own things, and then like your parents and you came up and like, oh, you were teaching a class, and I'm like, oh, wait, how did this how did this even begin? But yeah, like that's really, really good that you did that. I think everyone they have this saying, right? Like if you know something, that's one form of education, but when you teach someone, then you get to relearn, and then you really know whether you're a master at it.
For sure.
And I've always just led by example. So personally for me, I think like I've been posting quite a lot on my stories back then. Like I just work out, I just tell people go to the gym, alright? That's all I do. And surprisingly enough, I did that for like a year straight. And every single time I go to work or I go to school, everyone asks me the same question. Hamka, how do I start working out? And I'm just there like, you can't ask me how to start working out, but I realized they need to ask this question themselves. Why do I want to start working out? Right? So now that you are like helping people and all that kind of stuff, right? Like how do you, what would you say to them, like for people who want to start working out, like what would be your advice? Because I always tell them like you need to answer that question. Why do you want to start working out? Because just because you see other people going to the gym and then you start going to the gym doesn't mean you're going to stay consistent. Because everyone always gets like, they start and then they don't actually like maintain it. But then I think I want to ask you as a trainer, like how do you maintain someone's fitness throughout their life rather than making them like stop and give up?
I think finding the root cause of why you're doing it is a long journey that is different for everyone. But I think the number one piece of advice that I can give to someone who wants to start working out but doesn't know where to start or how to start is to not overthink it. I think overall that's the number one piece of advice I would give. Like, don't worry about why you're doing it. Don't worry too much about how you're doing it, how often you're doing it, how much. Just start with something, you know. And it's not for some reason people are ashamed to admit this, but everyone starts working out because they want to look good with their clothes on. No one wants to admit it. It's true for everyone. It's true for me. I'm sure it was true for you.
Of course.
Right? But yeah, so it's
but half the guys out there are like, I want to work out because I just broke up with my girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's 100% one of the reasons why.
Yeah. So regardless of what your reason is, man, like I always say the net impact of exercise on your life, regardless of why you're doing it, is going to be positive, in my opinion. Even if you're doing it to mask some sort of insecurity, it's part of the journey to like start exercising to mask the insecurity. Then you realize, okay, this isn't really fixing my insecurity, but you still get a whole bunch of other benefits that you realize, oh wow, I actually kind of like exercising. Even though it's not fixing this part of my life, it's doing me good in these other areas of my life. So that's why my top priority, I guess, as a trainer is to just get people started on something. Try and find something that they think they might like, give it a try for a couple of weeks, and if it's not for them, try something else.
It's like a constant experiment where like maybe 1 week you try just home workouts, and then 1 week you try weights, and then you try different things. And I tell this to everyone. For me personally, I'm not a trainer, but I tell everyone like, who wants to start working out, I tell them like, bro, just do like 5 minutes at home. Because I tell them it's not about changing your body yet, but it's about just making this habit of like working out every day. And then I tell them, okay, do it for 30 days straight, and then cut it off. See how you feel afterwards. Because like then you can actually feel like, oh wait,
Yeah.
now I have a day where I don't work out, like feels very, very weird.
Yeah, you feel very sluggish.
Exactly. And then you brought a very good point of this insecurity thing, right? The thing about working out is like, no matter what, even if you're doing it for there's not really much of a wrong reason. Like if you're trying to like make a nicer body to impress someone or whatever it is still a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's no such thing as like you work out, oh, why did you work out? Like you wasted your time. Like no such thing. And it's something that I guess a lot of people with insecurities find hard to start with. I'm sure maybe we can talk a little bit about like our insecurities, but like I just did it out of boredom like, when I first worked out. Like I have my insecurities, but something about working out, like there's a lot of moments where where I have my like, I would say moments, all right? Don't quote me wrongly, guys. Like depressed moments, anxiety moments.
Yeah.
And I don't want to work out. But every single time you work out afterwards, you're like, you feel good.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as like after you work out, you're like, why did I work out?
Yeah, why did I do that?
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? Did you do it like out of your own insecurity at all? Like, was it just purely just you enjoyed it?
You know, it was pure insecurity. Pure insecurity of just wanting to. It was when I was starting to kind of slim down because of my growth spurt, not because I was getting healthy. And then I was like, then I started to plateau. I was like, okay, I guess I gotta start working out to get rid of this now.
Yeah.
So I took those dumbbells right there. Do you mind grabbing it for me?
Okay, sure.
These are the dumbbells that I started out with.
Let's go.
I did 3 sets of 10 of bicep curls.
4 kilograms,
for
by
4 kilograms for pretty much maybe 3 sets, 2 sets, I don't know. For my very first workout in the other room that I was staying, that where they were not in now. But yeah, these dumbbells have been through a lot. I think I followed. Remember Mike Chang, Six Pack Shortcuts?
Oh yeah.
Bro, say what you want about him, like his scamming, like workouts don't make sense or what, but he got a lot of people, including me, into working out, and I'll forever be grateful to him for that.
Yeah.
Because he was just a friendly personality, he looked great, and that's what some people need sometimes.
Yeah.
To just get started.
Yeah, and some people need to have like a clickbait for them to actually start working out.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like it's just like that quick way to get a 6-pack or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just get you started, you know. But but the thing about working out as well, I guess it trains your mind to be like, there's no such, to get to greatness or like to get the big body, you have to face a certain amount of pain and a certain amount of time. Things that will benefit you will not take you like, it will not have instant gratification.
For sure.
Especially in this era where like we are living in like social media times, online shopping, delivery. I think we're very used to it with like instant gratification. I'm not gonna lie, like even to me in certain aspects of my life, I still want things to be like done quick. But there's something about working out that like slows you down. I don't know if it like actually slows you down, but like compared to like your life now, like we have technology, we message, everything is like instant.
Yeah.
Do you think people should work out also just because like in this life of such fast-paced life, then workout actually slows you down?
For sure, man. I mean, when you're under a heavy barbell going for a 1 RM squat, you better not be thinking about work, because if you think about work, your knees are gonna, you're gonna die. You're literally gonna die. I think that's why, to your point about forcing people to slow down, I think maybe another way of phrasing it is just being in the moment. Being in the moment for that 1 hour, 45 minutes or whatever, however long you work out for. Yeah, and also I think to the point of delayed gratification, so like, the opposite of instant gratification. There's no way to speed up the progress, right? You only see physical progress. I mean, okay, maybe beginners, when you first start working out, you see progress really fast, but then it plateaus really quick. And then after that, it's gonna be like a month or two before you continue to see progress. So it forces you to stay consistent. It is the best teacher, in my opinion, because I'm biased, I'm a trainer, but to me, it's the best teacher for delayed gratification.
Yeah.
And if you can apply that to other aspects of your life, to me, wow, that's like the biggest benefit that you can get from exercise, in a sense of how it can correlate to other aspects of your life as well, like relationships, building, like work, right? just getting used to the idea that, okay, if I want to work, if I want something that's worth working for, it's going to take time. No matter what, like no matter how much effort I put into this 1 hour, it's still going to take time. And I just have to learn to accept that.
Yeah, and it's also like, you actually have to think about it,
Yeah.
You have to like actually make the mindset and the thinking of like, okay, this working out is making me learn that other aspects of life will also be like working out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there was a phase where, like, especially during national service, for a lot of guys, it's like we're just working out for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this with a few of my friends. I'm not in what was the word? I'm not bragging in any way, but I was trying to understand why I don't necessarily have a lot of self-doubt in myself. I don't have a lot of like I have insecurities, but I don't doubt what I can do. And I was trying to understand why, because I know a lot of people who go through like this version of like they don't feel like they're worthy enough, or like they're not needed, that kind of thing. And that's also the reason why they don't work out, like they feel like they're not worth it. Yeah, they're not worth it. They don't deserve to do that kind of thing. And I realized like it's because I've been working out for 4 years, 5 years, and for the past 2 years in Australia, I've been working out like almost every day. And I didn't even realize it until I reflected on this question, right? I realized the thing about working out, I guess if you want to put it in like our white woke feminism era, right, is that working out is you loving yourself, aka always showing up for yourself. And I didn't even realize that was what I did. Like, I'm showing up for myself every single day without me realizing it.
Yeah. It's definitely a form of self-love. I mean, exercise addiction is very real, but it's better than drug addiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, people can take it to the extreme when it starts to infect their personal lives, their health in negative ways, their social life. But yeah, it's a very, I want to say, it's a very high effort form of self-love that to me carries the biggest impact, because it's so difficult to do sometimes. It's like I'm putting in all this effort, going through all this pain for myself. It's kind of like, if let's say someone were to buy you a gift, that's nice, but if someone were to leave school or leave work, come to see you because you're not feeling well, that's like next level effort, right? You can't compare. It's not the same as like it's just the amount of effort is on a completely different level. So I think that's how I think of exercise as a form of self-love as compared to other forms of self-love, like retail therapy or something. I don't know.
Actually, now think about it. How about you? Like, have you seen any of your students, I guess, like change mentally? Like their mindsets have changed, like their moods from the first lesson to like now?
I don't know about moods in general, but like their perspective on exercise and their attitudes going into sessions, for sure. I think the proudest moment for almost any trainer is when their clients, instead of you chasing them to schedule in like their sessions, they ask you like, hey, when are we training this week?
Oh, yeah.
That's such a huge like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. And also it's nice when they tell you, oh, you really, you've motivated me to continue exercising more. Or like, hey, now I'm trying to go for this class, I'm trying to go for spin, I'm trying to go for this and that. I'm like, great, my work here is done.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. Because like now that I'm just really reflecting on that whole aspect, like you can work out for someone, or like you can work out for the sake of it, but at the end of the day, even without you realizing, it's always for you. It's the one thing that is for you. Because as someone who's like went through the ditch of like finding vices, like for me, during one of the times where like I was going through like my own breakup kind of thing, I found vape to be like a way to, I don't even know why that's a vice. Like, all I'm doing is technically putting like water in my throat and just getting like air out. Yeah. And like, I don't know what other vices, to be honest. Maybe just sleeping in. And yeah, working out definitely saved me without me knowing. Because I think a lot of people mistake the word or like the phrase like love yourself where like, oh, just go out shopping, relax,
Yeah.
like putting your pedicure, manicure, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
But loving yourself is also like, I guess this is gonna get a little bit deep with like, if loving yourself equals to exercise and pain, if you're going into a long-lasting relationship, then shouldn't a long-lasting loving relationship also include a form of pain? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of it in the context of like our relationships with other people.
Yeah.
If you truly love someone and you can see that they are destroying themselves in some way, you want to call them out on it, even though it's a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of just letting them be and making them feel good all the time. If you truly cared about them, you call them out. It's the same thing like you do for yourself. Like you look yourself in the mirror, you know you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Hey man, you gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah.
You gotta look at yourself in the mirror, figure something out. That's self-love.
Mm.
You're telling yourself, oh, you know, it's okay, you've had a long day, you've had a lot of ups and downs in your life, you don't deserve it or whatever. That's not self-love, that's self-sabotage. To me.
Oh,
Click that.
clip that, bro. That was good. That was a really good one. Let me just double check. That was self-sabotage. Oh, man. Ah, shit. That was a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, I realized, like, as someone who's definitely got through, like, moments where I just kept in my vices, the thing that I realized, like, when I force myself to work, on days where I force myself to work out or whatever, it's like a snowball effect, right? Like once you start working out, then you're like, okay, what can I do next? Okay, then what can I do next? Because people, I think as humans, we always think like that first step is like, it's just too much work. And like the more work I do, the more tired I would get. But it's actually the opposite.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The more
For
you
sure.
rest, the more tired you get. But the more work you do for yourself, the more energized you get.
That snowball effect is so real and it's so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. Happens every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
Happens every single time. Like even for me right now, like applying jobs, every time I start applying, I feel like shit. But after I applied it, I'm like, oh, I did something today.
Yeah.
And then I started exercising. And then after I exercised, I was like, oh, time to meet you.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna keep snowballing. And yeah, I think that's one thing that we can tell people is like that take that snowball effect. Like I think the smallest thing, even if you do like 10 squats to start your day, I told my mom this.
Yeah.
Mom, just do 10 squats. Just do 10.
Yeah.
If you don't want 5, just
Yeah,
do
yeah,
5. That's all you have to do. I swear it will change your life.
Yeah.
But they still don't want to listen because like at the end of the day, it's what they call, right, the relaxing period is like self-sabotage. Oh my god. Because it sounds really good, right? It sounds like love, like you relaxing and everything.
Yeah.
But I think you brought a good point that like sometimes the ease is actually the self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess did you have any like people where you actually had to call them out?
That's something I struggle with as a trainer, honestly. I struggle with because I think what I needed when I was first starting to work out is someone to really guide me and hold my hand. And that's what I went into personal training thinking that that's what everyone else wanted as well. Some people really just need someone to keep them accountable and say, hey, do what you're supposed to do. That's something I still struggle with as a trainer, to be a little bit more firm on my clients, you know? Yeah, so I'm still not, basically I'm too nice. In a way, I am
because
too
it
nice.
is a weird line, right? Because like you want to push them, but at the same time they have to push themselves.
You have to
It's
push
like a
themselves.
very weird line to find.
One thing is, you want them to push themselves, but it's also like, as a trainer, you're in this very weird spot because you need to know about their personal problems to really help them and deliver how much, deliver the positive impact that exercise can deliver. Because of that, I feel like if I cross the line of being too harsh on them, then it's gonna affect them in a way that I don't want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm not just an acquaintance. I know about their problems and I need to, if I want to help them. Not to the extent that a therapist would, but there's a running joke in the industry that personal trainers are just underpaid therapists, and it's so real. I know shit that their spouses don't know, that their children don't know, and I don't know what to do with this information sometimes.
Are you allowed to say any of those problems?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I can make some plugs, but I can't think of any of the top ones.
Yeah, but that is so true. Like I guess off track a little bit. I'll make it come back.
Yeah.
I went to this event for like not really charity, but like this company called Impart Singapore. What they do is like they have tutors that help with students who are facing like family problems or whatever, and help tutor them with the understanding of like their background. And the thing that I've realized is like every form of teaching includes a little bit of therapy, where we really need to focus and understand how mental health work. Because people who go through like any problems, right, like in terms of like whether they want to exercise or they want to do better in their grades, there's always a form of like there's a reason why they are pushing themselves to this thing. You know, not a lot of people who go to find personal trainers are people who are like, I just want to work out.
Yeah.
Like it's usually like, I guess the basic one that I know of is like they have a health problem and then they find a personal trainer first. And then there'll be some who are like, who really need to get out of a rut, and then they want to get a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But then you as a personal trainer, when you hear these kind of problems, you're like, I'm just here to teach you how to exercise, and like now I have to learn that aspect of it. Do you think personal trainers should have like if you're like a personal trainer under a company, do you think they should have like a mental health training thing?
Oh, for sure. Especially nowadays. But I think that's a bit difficult to... So actually, for me, it's the opposite. It's like, I'm prepared to be a therapist because I understand what you said. Everyone has an underlying reason that they're working out, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, I just want to work out. It's like, I can look at that guy in the eye and say, no, you're insecure about something.
Yeah.
That's why you want to work out. But it's whether they want to open up to me about that or not. The hard part, especially for guys, is getting them to open up a little bit more about that. But when they do, that's when they really find the fuel to stay with it long term. Because I think they understand more about themselves, and they're like, I came here to work out, and I'm leaving the gym like free, like after having dealt with my childhood trauma or something. So it's such a weird. So I'm more than prepared to hear personal problems, but funny enough, it's hard to get them to be comfortable enough with you to get them to open up about these personal problems, because they see you as a professional who's working with them on a very surface level kind of basis. I'm the one who needs to show them that I need to work with you on a deeper level. I'm really going to help you as much as I can. And that takes time. Yeah. Especially as you would expect, it takes time for people to open up to other people. But yeah, it's a huge piece of the puzzle. Being able to help me understand what their underlying reason for exercise is. What motivates them. Only then can I really help them as much as I can.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I think the whole world needs to start implementing in education. When I went to this event, I talked to this man. His name's Mr. Mano. I think he was the principal of Temasek Primary for a while, and he brought a very good point with when countries start, like Singapore, right? There was a urgency to build something, so naturally there's less mental health issues because everyone had an urgency to build a life, and life was already like you have to work on it. But then now we are in a very weird spot where like our basis, our foundation is already there, and if you think about it a lot, almost everywhere the foundation is built, even in third world countries like Cambodia, Philippines, Malaysia, a lot of the foundation is already there. And then now mental health issues are arising because we already have, like, when I say foundation, I mean like everybody has a house. Everybody has tap water, okay? Tap water. And everybody has like gas, fire, everybody has a shower. Be it cold, warm shower, whatever it is, like these needs, and like a grocery store, bro, like all these foundations are already there. So naturally, if the only thing you're doing is studying and education is only teaching you how to write shit on paper, there's going to be a lot of more things that you are worried about in your head that's actually causing like a lot of us having mental issues. And until he said that, then I was like, yeah, because back then there wasn't much of like mental health issues compared to now, because all our needs are met. Like I say needs, like really needs, you know? The fact that we only go to grocery stores to just buy stuff, like that's it's all we need, you know. Yes, I know there's like inflation and like it's getting expensive, but it's still like it's just there to buy, you know. So I don't know, man. Like with mental health stuff, especially with exercise, I think it's definitely something that it's hard to get people to keep doing it, including myself. I have moments where I don't want to, but I feel like I've already got it in my life so much that I cannot stop. But it's not even just you, because I feel like you're gonna inspire people who exercise already to inspire others. Because as much as you are a personal trainer, let's admit, you're also a personal trainer to a lot of people who are friends and family in your life. There's definitely a lot of people who ask you like, Syakir, where do I start, bro? Where do I start? And then you have to find like a different approach.
Yeah.
All right.
But
exercise aside, now let's talk a little bit about diet, man. This is a part where a lot of people hate, including myself.
Yeah, including myself.
Exactly. Diet and exercise. What's your take on this? Like, which one's more important to you, or like, is it a balance? Like, what is it?
I think it depends on your goal. From an aesthetic perspective, you're never gonna achieve the look that you want for most people, like, you know, the generic kind of look that most people are going for with just working out. I think that's something that has been tried and tested for ever, and it's something that no one really disputes. You know, no one really argues with the fact that no one really tries to argue that you can work out and your diet can be shitty and you're gonna look amazing eventually. No one, literally no one says that. You can ask anyone in the industry, no one says that. From a health perspective, this is where things get interesting. So there was a study, I love this study, they did I think it was published in 2020, but the duration of the study when they're collecting the data was from 1997 to 2014.
Okay.
So what they were looking at was whether the impact of exercise on all-cause mortality, so that's death by basically any cause, so that whether it's an accident or just the total number of deaths across the course of a year, and deaths by diseases, so like Alzheimer's, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and all this kind of stuff. So they correlated that with how much people were exercising, whether they met a minimum exercise requirement. So according to a lot of health organizations around the world, I think the WHO, as well as a lot of sporting organizations around the world, like ACSM, they have this recommendation of 150 minutes of moderate intensity cardio per week, or 75 minutes of rigorous cardio per week, plus 2 strength training or weight training sessions. This is a very standard recommendation that you will find online from most, if not all, of the major health or fitness organizations around the world. So what this study was looking at is whether the people who followed this recommendation, whether they were less prone, more prone, or there's no change to the chances of them dying, to put it simply. Let me bring up the numbers because this is insane.
Okay.
So I got the rough numbers here, right? So over the course of 1997 to 2014, about 60,000 of the adults that they were surveying had passed on during that time frame. So that's how many years is that? 17. Jeez, my math, bro. 14 plus 3. 17 years.
17
In that 17 years, about 60,000 of those participants had passed away from either all-cause mortality or diseases. Right? Then there's a breakdown of the study, like 13,000 something from cardiovascular disease, 14,000 something from cancer. What they found is that exercise reduces your chances of dying from all-cause mortality. That includes like accidents and things like that. 11% for strengthening activities, like weight training activities. And 29% for like aerobic activities, like you're running and cycling and stuff. The thing is, this impact stacks if you are doing both. It's a 40% reduction if you're doing both weight training and cardio, from reducing your chances of dying from basically any cause, like throughout the, like in a nutshell, taking into account diseases, chances of injuries happening, accidents happening. So that was like, holy, 40%? Like, that's the equivalent of me being in a hospital bed, like, as someone who's healthy, but maybe I've developed some sort of health issue. That's the difference between the doctor saying, yeah, you're gonna live, versus the doctor saying, there's a 40% chance you're gonna die.
Yeah. Oh, man.
right?
Yeah.
That's
People who love
insane.
numbers will love this part.
yeah. I just hope I didn't butcher it too much.
No.
I could have probably presented it in a better way, but yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, so since I've heard about that study, I basically like, okay, if I'm not gonna do anything, like if my diet's gonna be bad, if my sleep's gonna be bad, I'm gonna make sure that I at least work out.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna have, in my eyes, the hugest impact on my overall health, like disease prevention, joint health, confidence, and all these kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, because I tell people, right, the more you exercise,
Yeah,
I guess the more you can eat the unhealthy food if you wanted to.
for sure.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you exercise every single day,
yeah,
if you have that like McDonald's twice a week, it's like, it's not the worst.
Mhm.
It's not the worst for you. I wouldn't recommend it,
Mhm.
but at least you can eat it being like, yeah, at least I exercise,
yeah,
.
for sure.
Yeah. Because everyone's always asking me like, oh, then how do you take care of your diet? How do you take care of your diet? I'm like, everything just in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got it from my religion, to be honest. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I got it from my religion, and Prophet Muhammad said, I think, I forgot the exact like verse, or not verse, like the quote, right? I think he says it everywhere, like, everything in moderation. And there's this never eat until you're full, because leave space for knowledge, which is so true, because like when you expand that a little bit, never eat till you're full, so like you don't get sleepy, so you can exercise, so you can do more activities, all these kind of things. And like
100%.
So I've already learned that like it's not necessarily about having the best diet, like having the best diet is one thing. Like there are also a lot of people out there who talk about diet, especially scientists and everything, like make sure you eat your fruits and vegetables, don't eat this bread, white bread is bad for you, like this specific thing that everybody's like, then what am I supposed to eat?
Yeah.
Right? But then to be honest, if you just exercise more, all these things aren't the biggest problems as well. Yeah. I guess I want to end it off with like slightly on a spiritual side of it. Definitely one of the main reasons why I exercise, to be honest. Two reasons for me. One is that God built my body and I don't deserve my body, and He's taking care of me. I have to take care of my own temple and my body. So I tell myself, like, there are a lot of moments where we want something from God. I want something from God. I always pray something from God, and I'm like, I don't deserve to pray for something I want if I don't do the work that He wants me to do first. That's definitely one of it. And secondly, not in any way am I calling out a specific ustad or imam or whatever, but most of them who are telling me like, oh, you have to live your life properly, you have to do this, do the right thing, and I'm like, yeah, and then why are you fat, bro? like can we start from there first? Like, to be honest, if I want to listen, like, logically speaking, right, if yes, this is a spiritual side of us, I still listen to them, I still listen to you spiritually, but if you're fat, not even fat, if you're like unfit, and then you're just forcing me these ideologies in my head, I'm like, you don't even take care of your own body, how do you want to share to people on how to take care of my body? You know what I mean? There has to be a level of like authority, and like you have to show me the results, and then you show me,
for sure.
Because now I feel like if you were to tell me something like spiritual about God or whatever, I would listen to you a little bit more, because I can see that you take care of yourself, and that's what Allah would want you to do. So maybe just one last question is like, spiritually, how do you feel after working out, and like does religion at least like guide you in a space where like, yes, I have to take care of my body?
Wow, this is a big topic, but I think
that whole topic of like the imam, I think that's in thing, right?
Yeah. I think it helps me practice my religion in the sense that, of course, like physically, like the energy levels, like your alertness, like achieving khusyuk when you saw that kind of stuff. Like on the surface level, that it helps with that. Motivation to go and do stuff, like to do what the things that we were supposed to do, like salat and stuff like that. Mentally, I think because it helps to like, the delayed gratification part of it. How do I say it? It's kind of like what we talked about just now, like when you, after you finish exercising, you don't feel tired. It's like, oh, I'm not going to do anything else. It's like you want to do more stuff. So for me, if I do it early in the day, I find that I have more motivation to do more stuff, and then include making sure that I salat on time, things like that. So in that sense, it helps with practicing my religion. The bigger part that I want to mention is that I was so happy when I found this out. So I saw online that I'll be honest, I never really fact checked, but like how there's this huge blowout of the UFC fighters from Dagestan, like the Islamic UFC fighters, like Khabib Islam and all these kind of people. Like, where did these guys come from? And they're not like, they are so rooted in Islam. Their culture is so rooted in Islam. So where do these crazy, strong, scary ass guys, Muslims, come from?
Yeah.
Right? It's scary not in the sense that they're gonna, but like scary in like, wow, these guys are strong, man.
Yeah. Fearful. Yeah.
Fearful.
Yeah.
But yet they're so rooted in, like God and faith. It's like, oh, this is what I want to be. And then I saw, and again, I didn't verify. I saw an Instagram comment of like, I think it was one of Habib's posts. Then they were like, oh, like, does Islam teach you violence? Then there was some guy who commented saying like, oh, did you know that the Sahaba actually used to wrestle in the Kaaba to keep themselves fit? I'm like, that is so badass, dude. That's what I want to be.
And then, yeah, that's the thing. That's what culture plays a huge part.
Yeah.
Like, culture plays a huge, because like you said, right, where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Because we're so used to Malay Muslims. Bro, when I went to Australia and I saw the different types of Muslims, I'm like, bro, this is not the same Muslim that I know, bro. Because I think it's in the Malay culture to be like, we call it adat, so like ethics, right? We have ethics. Like, everything be nice, be quiet, be respectful.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty in like exercising in the mosque. There's a beauty in when you get to hear children make noise and play in the mosque. Wrestling in the mosque, bro. And you go to any mosque over here in Singapore.
How sick would that be?
Yeah.
Imagine, like, yeah, it would be so amazing if we could find a way to integrate that as part of our culture. But yeah, I guess to me it's kind of like, it reaffirms my faith in Islam in a way. It's kind of like, okay, God wants us to be holistic in our approach towards the world. It's not just about, not in a sense that it's not just about worship, but in a sense that taking care of our lives in this world, which includes our health, is also a form of worship.
100%, yeah.
So that's, yeah, for me that's seal the deal.
Yeah, and worship doesn't just mean it's serious. I learned this in a Ali Abdaal book. I don't know if you know Ali Abdaal. He has this book called Feel Good Productivity. Serious and sincere will come out to have the same outcome. So don't use the word serious when you're about to pray or when you're about to do like your workout or like a study session. But use the word sincere because it's the same, like you're driving towards the same end goal, but can you feel the difference between the words?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because I've been telling this to my dad, like recently I've been praying, like a few months ago when I told him I'm going to pray sincerely instead of seriously. Then I told him like I've been smiling while praying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Why must I always pray like Allah? Like,
yeah.
I get it, but like, I don't know, the word sincere just changes the whole thing. And like, I find it fascinating like how one word can change the whole thing, and how culture plays a huge part in how you view religion. Because like I said, I told you, right, like I want to show more of like the normal human side of Islamic people in the media, and like it's nice to know that we at least get to share that, hopefully, with like how we've been talking, and like we're all normal people, man.
Yeah.
And like religion definitely does play a huge role in our life, at least to like be the best versions of ourselves. And I hope everyone out there listening, hopefully we get to inspire some people, or at least just get them to like start questioning themselves, like, do I want to start working out? Do I, and that's about it, man. You have anything else that you want to say for people who want to start working out?
Who want to start working out? You can find me on Instagram on shaykh.syaik.syak.
I love
If
that.
you're in
I love the
Singapore,
plug.
drop me a DM. We can train together. If not, you can just drop me a follow. I try to put out some useful content every now and then.
Yeah. Right, bro. Me and my podcast partner always end it off with Wallahi fam. Wallahi fam. Chunks. Right. Yeah, bro. That's good.
It's been a pleasure.